this is going to be the continuation of that story from when I met the girl at the anime convention. If you hadn't seen that video, go back and watch the Nerdy Women Are Out Here Waiting for You video. And I talk about one of the chicks that I met at an anime slash gaming convention. This is basically part two to that, where I'll just tell you exactly what happened with that girl that I met. So I got the girl's number and her Discord while we were at the convention, if you remember, and that was happening on a Saturday. So by Sunday evening, I was at home and I was on my computer playing Magic the Gathering, and it does show your status on Discord. She saw me online playing Magic the Gathering through my Discord, and she called me on Discord. Since I was chilling at my computer, I answered it, and we just started having a conversation just like that. And in the beginning, I shared my screen with her to show her what I'm doing. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is one of the games I play. And then I started asking her more about what she likes to play, like any other video games that we may have in common. And she was just like, well, I play a lot of Nintendo stuff. Like, everything on Nintendo Switch is pretty good for me. And I said, oh, yeah, me and my friends, we like to play Smash. And she was like, what? I like Super Smash Brothers. We like to play Super Smash Brothers on Nintendo Switch. I said, I have a Switch at my house, and that's actually one of the things that we do is I play that, Super Smash. And she was just like, oh, wow. She was like, yeah, I definitely have to come over sometime then, and me and you will have to play Smash. I said, yeah, that's what's up. We might have to do that this week. I'll have to let you know when I'm free so we can set that up. And then she started laughing. I said, what's so funny? She was like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna actually be focused enough to play the video game. I said, oh, why is that? She said, because I might want to smash instead of actually playing the game. I was like, for real? I said, how do you even know that that's something that you can handle? And she's like, oh, excuse me. I didn't know that it was like that. I said, yeah, you never know. I said, when was the last time you had a boyfriend? And the reason I asked her this is because I could tell that her talking was a bit socially awkward. And even though I wasn't like really hitting her with a low blow, but I was trying to get some more backstory on like what's been going on with her and everything. So she starts telling me about the last guy she dealt with, and she said that they had a relationship for years, and then eventually things just turned out where he was kind of abusive and she wanted to get away from him, and eventually she did, and it took a while, but she finally cut him off, and he doesn't bother her anymore. Now she explained to me, since it's been a long time since she had a boyfriend, she basically had been waiting to stumble across a cool guy like me that was relatable, into different types of anime slash gaming, whatever, into similar things, knows how to communicate. So she was really turned on by the fact that I knew how to have a conversation and I had similar interests. And she just told me straight up, she said, you're one of the first guys I've been interested in a long time where I actually want to come hang out with you. I said, yeah, well, we can make that happen. I said, let me just look at my schedule for this weekend, and we'll definitely link up. So then she started loosening up a little bit. She said, I don't know why it feels so easy to talk to you. She said, can I be honest with you? I have some dirty thoughts in my head right now for when I'm supposed to come hang out with you. I was like, yeah, you can say what's on your mind as long as it's not disrespectful. I don't really care what you have to say. Just say what you want. She said, well, when first one of the first things I'm gonna do when I get into your house is I want to give you that Gok 3000. That's basically what she said. She didn't say it in those words, but she said that basically she was looking forward to getting in the house. Soon as she gets in, she wanted to get right to it. She was like, she said, I know that might seem a little forward or a little weird. Is that too much for you? I said, nah, if that was the situation, I said I let it happen. I wouldn't be mad at that. She was like, okay. She was like, I was just wondering. I didn't want to scare you off or nothing. I said, nah. I said I'm into all kinds of stuff. I said that's cool being spontaneous like that. I said I'd enjoy that. And she was like, okay, well, good, because that's something that's on my mind and I really want to do. And so now in my head, I'm thinking, wow, this is crazy. I hadn't even really talked to this girl like that. And she's already telling me some things she wants to do soon as she busts up in the house. I'm literally trying to just hang out with her as somebody just to kick it with because you don't run into a bunch of nerdy girls that are just cool. But since the same is for her, she's actually attracted to me before those same reasons. And I'm thinking, oh, I just got a new cool chick I can hang out with. She'll probably show me some new anime. But she is willing to just come over here and give me the gawk, even though I'm interested in it, but I'm not. And this is the easiest way that you can allow yourself to get more access to women is not being so needy for it because she can tell that I'm not thirsty versus there were other guys at the convention trying to holler at her, and she told me about some of those guys. And she said that you could tell by the way they had like a thirst about them. She just wasn't interested. And then she said by the time I ended up talking to her, she could tell I was different. I didn't have that same level of thirst. So now the girl wants to come over to my house. That Sunday night, we ended up hanging up and all that stuff. And I went to work on a Monday, and we're texting a little bit while we're at work. And this is where things go a little bit further. And so she's texting me while I'm at work. Let me see if I can find some of the stuff here. So basically, she was just telling me how much she enjoyed talking to me. She said, I really enjoy talking to you. Um, she was like, you seem like a nice person and you're very cool. And then I said, I just responded, yeah, you're cool too. And then she said, I'm happy I met you at the anime convention though, and that we seem like we could really create a good friendship. And then she started asking me about another convention that I was going to go to. And we started talking about different ones that we've been to. And then after that, she said, "Can you call me?" She said, "When you get off work, when do you get off work so I can call you?" And I told her the time. I used to get off really late at this specific job that I had, so it'd be close to like 7 p.m. And I said, "All right, yeah, I get off around 7." And she said, "All right, well, just call me when you get off." And now, for me, I wasn't a fan of her wanting so much of my time because we weren't in a relationship. And I also told her we weren't building towards one. And to me, that's requesting a lot of my time. If I've already texted you while I was at work and I was working 12-hour shifts, so then if I get off late, I get off at like 7, and then you want me to call you as soon as I get off so you can talk to me and use more of my time and energy when I don't really want to talk after work like that. I got other things I need to do. I just told her that, hey, I'm going to be busy when I get off work. We're going to have to talk a little bit later, like maybe right before I go to bed. So this is the beginning of where she starts to seem a little bit needy. She said, okay, well, we can just talk later whenever you're ready. And I said, okay, that's cool. And then she just calls me. Like I get off work at 7 and I'm thinking, ah, cool. Now I can go do what I need to do. And the girl still calls me. I'm like, what the hell? So I didn't answer because I already had told her beforehand that, look, do not call me after I get off work or I'm not going to be able to talk after I get off work. So I didn't answer because I already had plans for what I'm doing after work. And she literally called my phone like 2 or 3 times. And I had to text her, look, I will call you back later. Give me some time to settle down after work. I'll call you back later. And she said, okay. She said, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it was at the point where it was like 8 o'clock. And she said, hey, call me whenever you're done. She texted me that. She said, call me whenever you're done. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I hadn't even laid down any pipe, and this chick's like on me all of a sudden. So not around 9 o'clock on Monday comes around, I just tell her to hop on Discord so that way I could talk to her once again while I'm winding down, chilling, playing Magic the Gathering on my computer. So then we hop on Discord and then we talk a little bit more. And that's when I kind of check her like, hey, you don't have to call me multiple times. If I tell you I'm gonna call you back, like don't don't do that. I'll let you know when I can talk. So anyway, we get to the next day and she's a little bit more chill. She hits me up with just hey on the text message. And then I respond. And then as soon as I respond, she says, can't wait to talk to you later on. Now she's talking like this, but through all of our conversations, I'm not telling her anything like very romantic or anything. It's literally us talking as friends, and then occasionally she'll throw in something that was sexual, and then I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. I'm down for that. Yeah, we can do that." I'm basically just like kind of co-signing, like, "Yeah, when we meet up, you can get right to it." I said, I'll make sure you have a good time, and that's all I'm doing is just talking to her that way. But now she's like, can't wait to talk to you later on. So I said, oh yeah, well, yesterday's convo was very interesting. And then she said, I have a question I need to ask you later on when we talk, but you have to wait until you call me. And this was like in the middle of the day while I was at work. I stopped responding because I was busy at work. I stopped responding and I stopped texting her for the rest of the day, and then I got off work at 7, like usual. So I basically went like 7 hours, didn't even respond to it, even though she said she had something she needed to tell me. So she calls me, of course, at 7 o'clock, and I was thinking about ignoring it. And the bad thing at this time, my phone was still programmed to my car, where it would send an automated text message if I was driving, saying that I was driving. And this screwed me over because now she was calling me and my phone sent the text back like, "Hey, I'm driving." I was like, I wanted to pretend like I wasn't alive. So then she texts back after she called and said, "Hey, I read a question. I have a question. Here it is." She went ahead and texted since I didn't call her. She says, "Do you think we can try to be friends with benefits?" So that was the question that she wanted me to call her about. She just texted it. So by this time, I'm being smart. I actually was so close to giving this girl my address before this interaction started happening. And I'm so glad I dodged the bullet and waited because this is the number one reason why I tell you you cannot be thirsty. Because I started noticing she was a little clingy, possibly a little crazy. She said, "Do you think we could be friends with benefits?" And I responded, "I would be afraid that you couldn't handle that." That's what I told her. I just responded that you couldn't handle that if we were to do it. Because I could tell if she's just clingy now before I do anything, oh, I know she's going to be screwed. And possibly I'm actually screwed because now she's going to know where I live. She sounds like one of these types that would just pop up at your crib just because she wants to see you. I said, I'm starting to realize in my head, like, I don't think this chick's worth smashing. So that's why I told her, I don't think she can handle it. And she responds back. She said, I can. I really can. And then I just told her straight up, I said, look, you're going to be hooked if we do something like that. And then your emotions are going to get involved. It might not turn out to be a good thing. And she was like, nah, that's okay. I know what I want to do and I know what I can handle. She was like, but what do you think? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm telling her what I think now. But now the girl's basically pushing, trying to persuade me to make her a friends with benefits. So that's why I'm telling you, man, these nerdy girls, they're out here waiting for another nerd to step up and come get the guts, man. Like I didn't want these in this instance, but They out here waiting for you if you want girls like this. You want a girl to be clingy, sometimes that feels good. It just depends. But me, I live by myself and I don't want somebody to just know my address and be clingy because it just gives me stalkerish type vibes. It's not just women that can be stalked. So I'm very careful and selective of who I send my address to, and for this reason. And so after she said that she's really okay with it, I just stopped responding. And then she sent me another text. She like triple texted me and said good night. This is how I'm confirming now. Okay, something's up with this chick because why is she triple texting me? Why is she so eager to be friends with benefits? Now I feel like I'm getting tricked. Like, what is she gonna do once if we were actually to get to the bedroom? I'm too afraid of what she might be planning now because it's a little bit too eager. I'm not gonna be not so naive and think, oh, it's because I got great game or I look a certain way or I talk a certain way. I'm not gonna be that dumb. I'm gonna think something else is up. I always like to play the suspicious role. So anyway, she texted me the next day and she said, "Hey, I got some ideas I want to run by you. Call me later on." I said, "Uh-oh." She said, "Yeah, you know what it is. I want to talk to you about something." I said, "Uh-oh, I'm scared." She said, "You're scared of what?" And I said, "I'm scared of what you might have to say." She said, "Nah, listen, we're gonna talk about some fun things that me and you can do." And she said, "It's nothing bad, but I just have some ideas of some more fun things that we can do." I responded, "I like fun." She said, "Me too." And so, yeah, it gets a little graphic here. She starts texting me. I'm guessing by the time that she's texting me while I'm at work, I'm guessing she's horny and she's thinking about me. It might seem a little bit outrageous, but yeah, I all of this came from like conversation game, me relating to her, just being good at talking. All of this stuff comes from this where she's treating me this way. And she says, "Okay, I want to." She was talking about wanting to kiss me, and then she said she wanted to, F. She said, "I want you to F me." Basically, that's what she said. And she's saying, "I want to tell you a lot of my ideas that I had, and there's a lot of things I want you to do to me." So I responded, "Okay, let's just make sure you're on your best behavior and we might make that happen." That's what I told her. If she's on her best behavior, we might make it happen. And she responds, "Okay, master." And I'm like, whoa, this is escalating now because she told me that she had a fantasy. Like she told me that she had a lot of fantasies. I skipped some parts, sorry, unfortunately. But through a lot of our nighttime conversations, she told me she had a bunch of fantasies of things she wanted to try. And she felt like I was one of those guys she could do it with. And she wanted to be called a sub. This is very common. I've run into multiple women that have actually done this where they want to be my sub and they call me master or they call me their dom. You might have to look some of that stuff up. So she called me master and she said it was because of what I told her about being on her best behavior. She said that made her horny when I told her that. So I responded, I wonder why. And she's just like, just the way that you talk. She said, it just turns me on. And she said, okay, well, please call me. She texted me that right before I got off work. Said, okay, please call me. After I get off work, I didn't call her. I did not call her. It was a lot. It was just too much. She's like got too much energy. It's like it was crazy. It's like she was so excited to talk to me that it actually started coming off weird. And this is the same way that women feel about certain men too. When you're trying to be clingy with a woman because they're showing you some attention, they might like you kind of, but you're being a little weird because you're just putting too much energy into it, where it doesn't seem like they deserve all the energy you're giving them. And now this girl was doing the same thing. So she tells me to call her. I don't call her. Instead, she calls me once again, and she calls me like 2 or 3 times, and I just text back. This is when I knew I was just going to separate myself from her. I just said, "Hey, I'll call you back. I can't talk right now." She said, "Okay." I did not call her back. Granted, there were some mistakes here. I could have just straight up cut her off by telling her, "Hey, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Let's just cut it off here." But I didn't do it, unfortunately. So the next day, she's hitting me up. There's like literally 5 texts in a row. She says, "Hey, hey, hey." And she says, "I'm okay. Can we talk? Do you think we can talk later today?" I didn't even respond. Like I literally went one whole day. She sent me like 4 or 5 texts in a row. I just did not respond because I was like, if I give her any attention, she's gonna just start blowing my phone up. So I was like, let's just let this one down slowly. So I'm trying to ghost her, and then she says, "Hey, do you think we can talk today?" This is the next day now. Moves on to the next day. She still texts me midday. In my car once again texts back while I'm driving, while I'm trying to ghost her. I'm like, what are you doing, car? I can't even ghost people properly. So I finally disconnected the messages from my car so it wouldn't do that. And she responds back to the car message saying, "Okay, do you think we can talk when you get home? Or we could even talk tomorrow if that's better." And I'm just like, oh my gosh, just play dead, play dead. The next day comes, and she says, "Hey, what's up?" I didn't respond, but at least she's starting to get the picture. She slowed down now. That was the only text she sent that day. And then she waited like 3 or 4 days. And now this is like where it just started freaking me out a little bit more. She said, "Hey," she said, "something's wrong. I'm sick." And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how to respond to this because she could be saying this just to get a reaction out of me. So she could be trying something drastic because this is 4 days have gone by where she hadn't tried to communicate with me, and then all of a sudden she just hits me with, "Hey, something's wrong. I'm sick." You have to remember, I just met this girl like a week and a half ago, and we only met in person once. She never came to my house, and we talked over Discord or the phone a few times. And she's hitting me up telling me she's sick, and I'm like, what does she expect me to do? Because she lives with, at this time, she's like a young girl. She's in her early 20s, and she still live with her parents, I believe. So I'm thinking, well, where's her parents? Why don't she tell her parents? Or I know she has a sister or a brother or something. I'm like, tell one of them. What am I supposed to do? I'm at work. And the only time I would answer something like this if it was someone I was close to and I could help them. So anyway, I didn't respond the whole day. And she didn't call me or text me anymore. She said she was sick. I didn't respond. A whole week goes by. And then she just says, "Hey, can you call me when you get off work, please?" I didn't do it. So then she calls my phone and a third time. This random day, just a week later, my car texts back automatically telling her that I'm driving. So I'm super failing at ghosting her because now my car keeps telling her that I'm alive for some reason. And then so she just responds, "Okay, call me when you get home." I'm like, how is she still responding to these text messages? I didn't call her when I got home. The next day comes, she says, "Hey, can we talk? Can I call you right now?" This is like at 9 p.m. And then she texts me, "Hey." Didn't respond to any of these messages. So it was literally like a week and a half of me not responding to messages, and she was still calling me. And that was it. I basically ghosted her because I could tell something was wrong. And I didn't want to put myself in a bad position where this girl was ever going to meet me anywhere at my house ever again. Now, I'm not going to say all women like that are crazy. It just so happened that that one girl really liked me. Anyway, tell me if you have any similar stories down below in the comments. If you watched it this far, thanks again and appreciate all the support on the channel.